Yo, what's up, guys? Thursday night football. Let's find some bets. So we're going to go through a bunch of plays. We got, obviously, a pretty good game tonight. Bengals, Ravens, and there are some touchdown scores that I like. Where's Jamar Chase? So this is one play I definitely like. If you can get Lamar, wow, they actually bumped him up. I think Jamar Chase plus 950 first touchdown score on DraftKings is pretty good. You can see all these other books in general have him around plus 700. So if you want a first touchdown score bet, Jamar Chase plus 950 on DraftKings seems solid. And then if you look at regular touchdown scores, we can find some plays there as well. So if we go here, where is it? So we want to go to anytime touchdown score. I ended up locking in Lamar. I gave out this play on Twitter, but if we go back here, there's only 2 NBA games tonight. But I locked in Lamar plus 165. FanDuel, I usually don't have this good of betting limits, but maybe it's because it's closer to game time. I was able to get down $1,500. And if you look at Lamar, you can see all these other books have him like plus 100-ish to score a touchdown. So FanDuel actually bumped him up to plus 170. Fliff has him plus 115, so this seems like a really good play. Lamar Jackson touchdown on FanDuel. But anyways, let's look for some PrizePicks plays. Why not? So we have some esports. Esports lines are coming out for tomorrow, CS2. And esports is a great sport to bet on just because there's so many games, right? Like if you go to CS2, you're going to see like every day, there's dozens of games, which means there's a lot of opportunity. We only have one football game tonight, but not a lot of books have posted their esports lines yet. There's some huge discrepancies though. This is crazy, right? Like if you look at this player Seized, which, the OddsJam Fantasy Optimizer, it just kind of shows you discrepancies. So Seized line on PrizePicks. So if we go to PrizePicks real quickly, PrizePicks has his line at 28, right? Map 1, map 2. But if you look at Hot Streak, they have his line at 22.5. So that's crazy, right? Like you'd think this was Taco Tuesday or something. You have a 5.5, point discrepancy, and you don't really see that in the NFL, right? You don't see the markets being this inefficient, fragmented, books screwing up this big. But, there's obvious, and you can see PrizePicks just bumped him down to 27.5. So this is still a 5-point discrepancy. So what you could do is you could bet Seized over 22.5 on Hot Streak. And then you could hit the under 27.5 on PrizePicks. And if he has, anywhere in that 5, if he has 23 to 27, you're going to win both bets. So that's called a middle bet. Hit the over 22.5, the under 27.5 between PrizePicks and Hot Streak. But you're going to need to have both of these books. But anyways, again, there's not a ton of other data points. Like right now for esports for tomorrow, it's only Hot Streak and PrizePicks that have lines up. So it's not really clear here. Like, okay, like PrizePicks already bumped him down, so some of the values already starting to go away, but it's not really clear. Like, okay, what book is wrong? But what you could do again is just hit the over 22.5 and then the under 27.5. Then you have a 5-kill discrepancy, which is crazy if you think about it. That's fucking insane, right? The sports betting markets, like this is the same fucking bet, How many kills is this guy going to have? And one book has his line at 22.5. One book's at 27.5. It's crazy. It's like if you went to, Fidelity and you saw the price of Facebook was $300 and then on E-Trade it's $400. Doesn't make any sense, like at all. So, day trading the books, like that's something you can do. You can middle bet a lot of these plays. But anyways, let's look for some NFL plays ideally. And then we can also try to find some plays on Fliff and just try to find some value in the market. So where do we want to go? So we have some plays on Fliff from earlier. So we'll look for some Fliff bets in a bit. But Mark Andrews over 4.5 receptions. This play still looks pretty good at minus 115. I gave him out yesterday. I have so many bets open. I gave him out, where is it? At plus 105. So the odds have come crashing down, but you can see all the books have been ripping odds towards Mark Andrews going over. So Fliff has his line at minus 115. Caesars has his line at minus 160. And again, you want to put some weight into all these books. Like, you know, Caesar Sportsbook, it's a $10 billion company. They have really sophisticated models. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. So all these books are, you know, clearly indicating to you Pinnacle, which is known to be the sharpest book. All these books have his over really heavily favored, minus 130, minus 135, minus 159, 60. You know, definitely getting minus 115 on Fliff seems pretty dang good. But anyways, let's try to lock in a PrizePicks play. Why not? So we'll try to lock in a PrizePicks play to start. So again, all these esports plays, like you only have 2 data points, Hot Streak and PrizePicks. I'm just kind of going to skip over them. I mean, there's a shit ton of discrepancies right now, it looks like. But maybe we just focus. So let's get rid of esports for a second so you can filter that out on the optimizer. And we can kind of see, okay, like, is there anything else we want to go with? There's one touchdown bet, but honestly, not a ton. So we'll go over to Underdog Fantasy in a second. But there are some good, you know, maybe there's some good touchdown bets. So you can actually see, I'm already on Mixin. I need Mixin. Where is it? So this play, which was from the last live stream, this play is going to cash if Mixin doesn't score a touchdown. And again, like the strategy for beating PrizePicks, so if we just go over to player touchdowns, the strategy for beating PrizePicks is pretty simple. You know, PrizePicks is a weird platform. You know, they don't change your payout. If you take Mixin to score or to not score, they give you the same payout regardless, right? They don't change your payout based on you selecting a player's over versus under, right? On PrizePicks, any 2 picks, you get a 3x payout. But if you take a look at sports books, you're going to see in general, all these books, Pinnacle or Penny right here, right? This book's known to be the sharpest. All these books have Mixin heavily favored. ESPN bet. ESPN just launched a sports book this week. All these books have Mixin heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So all of these books, again, are data points telling us, hey, you know, Mixin is more likely to not score a touchdown. He's more likely to go under. And you can see on Hard Rock, like they're giving you Mixin at plus 110, but they don't have odds on the under. So a lot of these books have one-way markets. They have odds on Mixin to score, but they don't have odds on Mixin to not score. But you can see Hard Rock's giving you plus 110, which is roughly the same as Pinnacle. So if they did have odds up on the under, it would probably be like minus 145. Plus 110 is obviously an underdog price. So all these books are just telling us like, hey, Mixin is, you know, more likely, he's an underdog on all these books, plus 105 odds. Mixin is not favored to score a touchdown. He's a lot more likely to not score. So again, that's what we want to see. PrizePicks, they give us the same payout if we take Mixin to score or to not score, which makes this platform really interesting. So you compare the lines on PrizePicks to books, especially the sharp books like Pinnacle, and, you know, you find value. All the books are telling us, hey, Mixin's a lot more likely to not score a touchdown. So Mixin no touchdown still looks halfway decent. Let's get rid of this esports play. And I looked through some of these player props, but we can see here there was some news in the so Tyreek Hill, you know, no value, right? Not really any value here. Like books have him slightly, ESPN, the score, like these books with 2-way markets have him slightly favored to score a touchdown. You know, where's Pinnacle, Penny? Slightly favored, but not super favored. We want to see spots on PrizePicks like Josh Jacobs. So if you take a look at Jacobs, he is a heavy favorite to not score a touchdown, right? Pinnacle has him minus 163. So this play actually looks better than the play on Mixin, right? Mixin is only a minus 145 favorite to go under. Whereas if you look at, who are we just talking about? Whereas if you look at Josh Jacobs, he's a minus 163 favorite to not score. He's minus 175 on Fliff. You know, all these books with one-way markets have him plus 120. So if you assume FanDuel would roughly have the same odds as Fliff on the under, minus 175, minus 185, I mean, they have the same odds on the over, right? Roughly the same odds, plus 110, plus 120. So like roughly all these books have Jacobs as a minus 175 favorite to not score. So he's a lot more likely to go under. So it's like, okay, Josh Jacobs also seems like a good play. This play's better than the Mixon play. Again, PrizePicks, like if you were to only select one of them, you'd rather take this play on Jacobs. If you take Mixon to not score a touchdown, you get a 3x payout. But PrizePicks gives you a 3x payout for any 2 picks you select. So you want to find the plays with the highest possible win rate. You're always getting the same payout. So Josh Jacobs to not score a touchdown seems great. And you can just see all this data on the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. So this Sportsbook screen right here just, pulls in odds from every book, and, you can kind of use it to hunt through the market for some value. So Travis Etienne, not really any value. Not a slight favorite to not score a touchdown, but only minus 122. Whereas again, this play on Josh Jacobs, like he's a huge favorite to not score a touchdown. So Josh Jacobs looks good. Another play that looked good was Walker. So Kenneth Walker, minus 140-ish. Not as good as the Jacobs play. Minus 150 on Fliff. So all these books have Kenneth Walker pretty heavily favored to not score a touchdown. But anyways, let's go back here. So what do we like? So we now have 3 picks. But what we can do is we can go here. So if we go here, then we have a combo prop. So this actually pairs pretty nicely, right? If the Ravens are dominating the game, Mark Andrews and Keaton Mitchell are more likely to score a touchdown, right? Like we're taking Mixon's under. So if the Bengals have a bad game, they have possession of the ball less, Mixon's going to be more likely to not score a touchdown. And then, Keaton Mitchell and Mark Andrews combo prop are going to be more likely to score a touchdown. What also pairs nicely is Jamar Chase. Whoa. So they literally just ended up ripping that. But anyways, we can take Jamar Chase. So this also pairs well. Actually, did they just remove 2 of them? So annoying. But anyways, did they just remove the play on Mixon? They didn't. So it makes sense to take Jamar Chase's under, right? At least it should. What we can do is we can pull up FanDuel and kind of take a look at the correlation. So if you go to FanDuel, right, like if we let's go to same game parlay. PrizePicks, they don't change your payout, right, based on what you select. So if we take Mixon to score, and then what we want to do is go to receiving yards. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. Is if you take Mixon touchdown, right, and Jamar Chase over in receiving yards, plus 246 odds. But what if we take Mixon, or what if we take Jamar Chase's under? I apologize. So let's go back up here. And then we want to go to same game parlay, and let's just find this really quickly. So we want to go to receiving yards. So again, like you're going to see here, Jamar Chase, the odds on the over and the under are the same, right? So you'd think like, okay, like if we take Mixon to score and Jamar Chase to go over, you're getting plus 246 odds. FanDuel gives you a higher payout, right? If you take Jamar Chase to go under and Joe Mixon to score. And that should make sense, right? If the Bengals are having a good game, Jamar Chase is more likely to go over. Mixon's more likely to score a touchdown. If Jamar Chase is getting yards, the Bengals are more likely to get in the end zone. Mixon's more likely to score. So FanDuel gives you a worse payout. They give you worse odds if you take both overs together. So it's, the same thing for unders. Jamar Chase under, Joe Mixon under. These plays pair well together. But again, we only have now 3 picks, and ideally, they just ripped off one of them. Ideally, we want to find 5 picks. Like on PrizePicks, 3 pick entries, you're only getting a 5x payout, which is really bad compared to other books, right? It's just not a good payout. 3 picks are one of the worst slip types actually on PrizePicks. Like if you look at Underdog Fantasy, they give you a 6x payout. And they actually just reduced my max betting limit to $20 on Underdog Fantasy, which is super annoying. I got down a $50 play yesterday, woke up this morning, can only bet $20 on anything I want to go with on Underdog. But you can see they give you a 6x payout for these 3 pick entries. PrizePicks is only 5x. So that type of stuff matters long term. But anyways, let's just go back here. Let's find some plays. We're talking way too much. So if we go back here, it's like, okay, not a lot of NBA tonight. You can see there's some plays on Fliff, but anyways, maybe what we do as well is we just go over to Underdog Fantasy, and I'm going to have pretty low betting limits, which sucks, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. So the first play, Underdog Fantasy, again, like it works basically the same way as PrizePicks. They have slightly different payouts. Like on Underdog, I play a lot of 3-pick entries. They have pretty good payouts. 6x payout, $50 to win 300. Whereas on PrizePicks, they only give you a 5x payout, which sucks, right? It's not a good payout. But anyways, what's the first play OddsJam is recommending is Lamar Jackson under 1.5 passing touchdowns. And then I already have this play open. So the first play OddsJam is recommending is Lamar under 1.5 passing touchdowns. And again, like the strategy is pretty simple. Underdog Fantasy, they're going to give us the same payout, right? If we take Lamar's over or under, doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter at all. You're getting the same 3x payout for a 2-pick entry. So what we want to do is we want to, follow the data, compare the lines on Underdog to sports books. And you're going to see all the books have Lamar pretty heavily favored to go under, right? Minus 180 on Bovada, minus 140 on, Bet Online. So all these books, they're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in, sharp action. These books aren't stupid. DraftKings is a $10 billion company. They have pretty good models, and they're taking bets. It's a market. Just like if everyone starts buying a stock, the price goes up. Sportsbooks, they're trying to balance the amount of bets they're getting on the over and the under. So they're constantly moving around lines based on where action's coming in, especially sharp action. Caesars knows which of its customers are profitable. And if everyone starts hammering Lamar's under, they'll move lines towards the under. So these books are, in general, pretty good at setting lines. So all the books, it's not just like there's one book with Lamar's under favored. You have literally tons of books. They're all telling you the same thing. Granted, to different degrees. Bovada has the under more favored than DraftKings, but all these books, the consensus is Lamar's a pretty big favorite, minus 150 to go under. So it's like, okay, that seems like a good play to go with. And then the second play we have is Harrison Smith under 6.5 tackles plus assists. So let's get rid of this play on Burrow. Sunday night football. So we have Thursday night football, Sunday night football, 2 picks. And then you can see there's some Valorant value. So we have Echo over 30. So again, like OddsJam's just scanning the market, pointing out value. Nothing complicated. If you look at Echo's line, he's 32 on PrizePicks. Even if you don't use PrizePicks, even if he's 31.5 on ParlayPlay, which is a good book to have. They have a $100 deposit match for new users as well. So you put in 100, you get 100 for free. But again, like even if you don't use ParlayPlay, it's still a book with a sophisticated model. So you want to look at their lines. Like it should make it clear to you, like you don't want to take Echo under 30, considering you can get him on other books under 31.5, because then you're just getting ripped off, right? And if you're getting ripped off, you're never going to be a good sports bettor. If you're betting on Echo under 30 when you could be getting under 31.5 or under 32 on PrizePicks. But anyways, so we have the over there. And that makes 3 picks. So we have a 3-pick entry on Underdog. And we have some videos on the OddsJam YouTube just kind of breaking down the math behind Underdog Fantasy. And it looks like they got rid of this next play. So let's go here, Stu under 37. So let's take a look at this. So that will be our 4th pick. And what was I going to say? There's some videos kind of breaking down what's the optimal slip type on Underdog Fantasy, stuff like that. And basically you want to play 3-pick entries, no insurance, 4-pick entries or 5-pick entries. You want to play with insurance. They're all roughly the same. And again, like if you go through the math behind Underdog, I have a little spreadsheet for PrizePicks as well as Underdog. But let's go back here. And anyways, I'm just going to lock in this slip. So we have 4-pick insured entry, Lamar under, Harrison Smith under, Echo over, Stu under. I like to double check things, just make sure I didn't take an over or under And you can see they already removed this play on Stu. So I'm just going to place this as a 3-pick entry with no insurance. So 3-pick entries you want to play with no insurance. And then here's our 3-pick entry. So if you go through the math behind Underdog Fantasy, what you're going to see is to be profitable on Underdog, you got to win 55% of your over-unders, right? So just like, Isaiah Stewart over under 9.5 rebounds plus assists, like you got to have a win rate. Underdog, they always give you, like it never changes. They are always giving you a 6x payout for 3-pick entries, 50 to win 300, 20 to win 160, or 20 to win 120. They're always giving you a 6x payout. So it all just boils down to what percentage of your picks can you win. And if you can win these over-unders, just like Isaiah Stewart over under 9.5 rebounds plus assists, if you can win these over-unders above 55% of the time, you're going to be profitable. But that's not like easy to do, right? You got to win 55 minimum, which means you're only losing 45, right? What Underdog is banking on is you don't have an edge. And if you don't have an edge, you're going to win 50% of your picks. You're going to lose 50% of your picks. Like if you don't have an advantage, you selecting over-unders is like flipping a coin. 50% heads, 50% tails. And your ROI on Underdog is going to be negative 25% if you don't have an edge. So you need to find plays winning, you need to find plays that are winning above 55% of the time. So the easiest way to do that is you just look at sports books, right? And here, all the books are telling us, like Lamar's under is a lot more likely than his over. The under is heavily favored. So that's why this play is winning above 55% of the time. And it's a profitable bet, on Underdog Fantasy, a profitable play to go with. Granted, it's not like the craziest value I've ever seen, but still a pretty good play. So what we can do is we can go back here to PrizePicks. Maybe some new plays are popping up. And they are. So here, at least we have 2 data points, right? Jock Market has the line at 33, Hot Streak at 31.5. So if we pull up the CS2 lines, we can kind of take a look here. 33.5, again, like it's much different than the NFL where you have dozens of books posting lines. But if you go through the math behind PrizePicks, I have a little spreadsheet for this. You're going to see on PrizePicks, so let's go here. Did they move any of our player props? They did not, so that's good. So we have Mixon not to score, Jacobs not to score. This is probably the best pick. And then we have Jamar Chase to go under 7.5 receptions. They pulled 2 others. So then we have Oscar under 33.5, right? So again, on PrizePicks, like they have fixed payouts. Any 4-pick entry is going to have a 10x payout. Doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, esports, soccer, whatever. 4 picks, 10x payout. So if you go through the math behind PrizePicks, on PrizePicks, you have to win only 54.2. You just got to be able to win these over-unders, right, above 54.2% of the time. So the easiest way to do that is using data, using market information. So Oscar, Jock Market has his line lower at 33. So that indicates to us like, hey, other books think his line should be lower. So the under is definitely the side that has the advantage on PrizePicks. And then you can see Hot Streak. This sports book has his line, first of all, lower at 31.5, but you also want to consider the juice. Not only do they have the line 2 points lower, right? They have the line 2 points lower at 31.5, but they also have the under favored, right? The under is a minus 162 favorite. So the books are telling you like, or at least like this book is telling you, we think he's more likely, his under is favored. There's more juice towards his under. It's a minus 162 favorite. So this book's telling you like, his line should be lower at 31.5 and the under is favored. The under is the much more likely outcome, minus 162 odds. So all these things make it clear to us that like, getting under 33.5 on PrizePicks seems pretty dang good. But anyways, let's go back here. And, so these plays are in the same game, both of these CS2 plays, so we're not going to be able to include them in the same slip. On PrizePicks, you can't include esports player props in the same slip. So what else do we want to go with? Let's go back here. I mean, hopefully we can find one more pick to go with because we're coming up on having a pretty good play on PrizePicks. So Lamar Jackson, this play is getting even better. I mean, you can see books are ripping odds towards his under 1.5 passing touchdowns. You know, the market's always moving. Sometimes it's like maybe there's new news, maybe, you know, whatever. Sharp actions coming in. Sometimes it's a player being injured. These lines can move for a bunch of reasons. You know, Ravens cornerback inactive. I don't know. But like you get the point. But anyways, so let's go back here. So there was just some news in this game. So let me get rid of these plays on Chase because this should move the lines a bit. But anyways, if we go here, right, we can take a look at Mixon again. Just make sure the line hasn't moved. Again, whenever a player gets injured, like that affects the entire market. You know, like if a player's not playing, that affects the lines on other books. Or sorry, like, you know, if players start getting injured, like for example, if Jamar Chase gets injured, that affects Joe Mixon, his odds for scoring a touchdown, right? It's just like if Lamar gets injured, then if Lamar gets injured, then Zay Flowers is going to be a lot less likely to score a touchdown because his main quarterback, like they're going to have some crappy backup in and probably not be driving the ball much. But anyways, let's refresh this. So this play on Mixon still looks good, but what else? So another play is Evan McPherson under 1.5 field goals. Did they just remove this play on Mixon? Or no, we removed it. So if we go back here, right, it's like, obviously it doesn't make sense. These two plays make no sense to pair together, right? You don't want to take Mixon under and Evan McPherson under in the same slip, right? Like if the Bengals aren't scoring touchdowns, if Mixon doesn't score a touchdown, they're probably more likely to go over in field goals. So you only want to take one of these. So anyways, let's go to Fliff for a second. There's just not a ton of value on PrizePicks right now. Oh, shit. So this play does seem quite good. You can see Pinnacle has been reducing odds on Jimmy Butler 3-pointers. Again, the NBA is great because there's just a lot of line movement, right? Players are constantly sitting, oh, Giannis is playing, Giannis isn't playing. The second Giannis it is announced Giannis isn't playing, Dame's points line has to move higher, right? If Giannis isn't in the game, Dame's probably going to have less assists, or at least he's going to have more points, right? So every time there's injury news, stuff like that moves around the market and leads to profitable betting opportunities because all these books set lines independently, right? All these books are setting their own lines. So you can see too, like Bet Online, which is known to be a very sharp sports book, they've ripped odds on Jimmy Butler's under, right? They've ripped odds towards his under. So getting plus 160 now seems pretty dang good. And I just recommend, move quickly. These great lines are not going to last forever. So Jimmy Butler. And the more books you have, the better. So Fliff is different than PrizePicks, right? PrizePicks is one of these fixed payout platforms. There's no odds on PrizePicks, right? But when you're betting on Fliff, it's pretty easy. It's just find value in the market, follow the sharp books especially. So you can see Bet Online and Pinnacle, two of the sharpest bookmakers. Pinnacle is known to be the sharpest book in the world. They take pretty big bets. It's legal in almost every country, not the US. So I can't bet on Pinnacle, but I still look at their odds as a source of information, right? Because they're one of the sharpest bookmakers. You need to be looking at their odds before you place your bet. So this play on Lamar just keeps getting better, but of course I'm not even able to fucking bet more on it. Oh, baby. But I did just find another play I really like. So now lines are moving. So what we can go with is Lamar Jackson over 45.5 rushing yards. So again, PrizePicks works differently than a traditional sports book. When you're betting on traditional sports books, find value. Plus 160 is crazy. All the other sharp books, Bet Online, Pinnacle, have this plus 125. You're getting really good value. Find value in the market. Same thing with this play on Mark Andrews. And again, like you should see lines move in your favor. And what I mean by that is like, if you look at this play, I'm on Chase Hooper versus Jordan Leavitt. I got Leavitt plus 230, right? You can see now his line on books is down to around plus 180. No other book except Fluff is even offering better than plus 180. So obviously we got a great bet down, right? Like if the books aren't moving lines in your favor, you're not beating the market, beating the closing line, like that's a problem. But anyways, so this play on Lamar, Jimmy Butler, sheesh, under an assist. So we just took his under and threes. But if you're feeling ballsy, right, the market's moving. I don't know. Maybe Butler's expected to play less minutes. Maybe his calf hurts or something. I don't know. Like LeBron yesterday. But of course, LeBron ended up going off and my bet ended up losing. But a lot of times it's this, right? Like starting lineups being released affect the lines, right? Maybe these other players in the lineup make it more likely that Butler's going to go under an assist, right? The market's always moving. So where's Jimmy? Here we go. Hammer the under. 250 minus 145 odds. So I treat my sports betting, kind of like a hedge fund in a weird way, or an investor. I place a bunch of bets with an edge. I know not every bet's going to win, but I'm going to win long term. And I use all these books. And if there's more value on ParlayPlay, I'll place more bets on ParlayPlay in a day. More value on PrizePicks, I'll place more bets on PrizePicks in a day. But if you look at Lamar, all the books have him heavily favored to go over in rushing yards. Caesars ripped him down to minus 163. Caesars is a $10 billion company. Whatever, a lot of people will be like, oh, I want to create my own model to beat the books. It's like, good luck with that, Caesar Sportsbook, better data feeds than you, way more money than you. It's like you're not just going to spin up a better model than Caesar Sportsbook or PrizePicks or FanDuel. And that's why you use these sportsbook odds, kind of against each other to find these plays with an edge. So anyways, the NBA is starting here in a second. But what I want to do is go quick. Sheesh. So here's an arbitrage play. You could also arb this play on Mark Andrews, but let's get down this PrizePicks play first. So we got Lamar over in rushing yards. Okay, all the books have his over heavily favored. It also pairs nicely with Mixon, positively correlated. Like if you go here, if you take Mixon to score and you take where's rushing yards, right? Like it doesn't make sense to pair them both in the same direction, right? The odds go down, granted only slightly, but if you take Mixon, like you want to take them opposite directions in general. Like again, if the Bengals are punting the ball a lot, they're playing crappy, Lamar Jackson is going to have possession longer. So if Joe Mixon doesn't score a touchdown, Lamar is more likely to go over 45.5 passing yards. So correlation is a pretty easy, concept to understand. Once you just see a couple examples, right? It's kind of like, okay, like, unsurprisingly, if you take Lamar over and Mark Andrews over, FanDuel only gives you a plus 165 payout, right? Even though the odds on Mark Andrews over and his under is the same, if you switch Mark Andrews to an under, your payout goes up to plus 324 because these plays are negatively correlated, right? If Lamar goes over, Mark Andrews is a lot more likely to go over. So FanDuel reduces your payout if you take both the overs together. But anyways, so we have 4 picks. And we want to find one more. Pretty annoying that they ripped off, or they didn't remove Walker. So we could take Walker as well. Walker to not score a touchdown. But we can refresh this first. Sometimes, I like to wait until more books drop esports lines before I start to fire off, some of these esports plays. But whatever. We have 5 really good picks on PrizePicks, all unders except for Lamar. So let's lock it in. And we got a fun sweat, 5 plays with an edge, max entry size of $25. So it's like, okay, sure. PrizePicks has me limited. That's what sucks about these books is, it kind of feels like a rigged game. Underdog Fantasy reducing betting limits to $20. PrizePicks fucking $25. But that's also why you want to have as many books as possible. Also, all these books have pretty, lucrative promos. So there's no reason not to use, all the books in your location. More books, more profitable bets. Sometimes there's a lot of good plays on Fliff. And, I just, again, I treat my sports betting like a hedge fund. I place a bunch of bets with an edge. Let the math work itself out. Not going to win every day, but over the course of the long run, we'll win. So that game just started. But anyways, what you could do with this play on Andrews, so if you do use Caesar Sportsbook, right, what you can do, and this will only take a second to go through, this is one of my favorite betting strategies. It's actually how I started sports betting. And Fliff has a max bet size of 250. So if you go here, if you hit the max button, I don't think this is just me. I think this is everyone. They only let you bet $250. Right? So that's the max you're going to be able to bet. But Arbitrage, all these books set their own odds. Caesars has his over at -171. Fliff is -115. So Arbitrage is when these books have such different odds, they get so out of sync that you can bet the over on one book, in this case Fliff, the under on another book, in this case Caesars, and make a risk-free profit. So all you do is you pull up an Arbitrage calculator. It's going to tell you, and I recommend rounding your numbers. So don't go to Caesars and bet 203.21. Round your numbers to 205, 200. But whatever, for the sake of example, let's just say whatever. You bet 203.21, right? These are equal and opposite outcomes. So one of two things is going to happen, right? He's going to go over or he's going to go under. So if he goes over 4.5 receptions, on Fliff, I'm up 250 times 100 over 115. With Arbitrage betting, you're always going to win one bet on one book, lose one bet on another book, but you're going to make money no matter what. You're day trading the books. It's like if you could buy a stock at $115 on Fidelity and then go sell it at 130 on E-Trade. Buy the stock for 115, sell it for 130 on a different platform. So if you use Fliff and Caesars, this is literally a free, it's literally, Fliff has a max bet size of 250. It's a free $14 for 2 seconds of work. It takes 2 seconds to go to the NFL, go to player props. Granted, it is useful to know how to navigate these books quickly, but just go here, right? Go to receptions, lock it in, right? Max 250, lock it in, and make a risk-free $14. So long story short, if Andrews goes over, I lose 203.21, right? If you follow the calculator exactly, but I recommend rounding your numbers. If you follow the calculator exactly, you'll lose 203 on Caesars. If he goes over, if he has 5 or more receptions, but on Fliff, you make, you're betting 250, right? At -115 odds. So your total payout is going to be 217.39, right? So you're going to make $14 net profit. On the other hand, if he goes under, you lose. If he has 4 or less receptions, you lose your 250 on Fliff, but on Caesars, you're up 203.21, times 1.3, right? You're betting at +130 odds. 1.3, you're up 264. No matter what happens, you make a risk-free profit of $14. And again, if you round your numbers, then you're just going to see, if you round Caesars, if you don't follow this calculator exactly and you round this from 203.21 to $200, the only thing that's going to change is you're going to have a slightly different profit if he goes over versus under. Arbitrage, if you follow the calculator exactly, doesn't matter if he goes over or under. One bet always wins, one loses, and you make a risk-free profit of $14.18. But if you round your numbers, it'll be slightly different if he goes over or under. So let's go back here. And I try to focus on the main books. Again, depending on where you're located, there's tons of good bets. This play looks amazing on FanDuel. Random soccer bet for tomorrow, +210 on FanDuel. Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker out there, especially for soccer, they have this all the way down at +162. So value can be in any sport on any sports book. It really is just the concepts that are important to understand. So I already bet this. I already bet this. I already bet this. Like, I just kind of like clear out book to book to book. Like, did I place all the profitable bets? Zay Flowers over 4.5 receptions, but again, lower profit margin, only 0.3%. Like, I prefer to focus on the plays, obviously, with a higher profit margin. Any more arbitrage bets? And again, like, some people would be like, oh, why don't you use, whatever, Bet365 or Pinnacle or whatever? Like, there's a shit ton of random books out there. It's like a lot of these books just, circa Vegas. It's like circa Vegas. It's not available in my state. I'm not in Las Vegas. Otherwise, I'd definitely use it. So a lot of profitable bets you just won't have access to due to your location, Anyways, let's go back here. So Underdog Fantasy, you still got that play on Lamar, which looks great. Books are ripping lines towards his under. Any new plays on PrizePicks? So there are some more plays, but all of them are in this TSM Sinners game. No? Well, actually not completely the case. There are some new esports plays showing up. Yeah, there's some new esports plays showing up. But again, nothing to write home about. We'd be using a lot of the same plays. ParlayPlay, is there anything good? What we can do is we can take a look. So I just kind of bounce around, again, from book to book, tool to tool. Try to squeak out the profit margin I can. Like, I'll hit some arbitrage bets. If I can make a risk-free, $14 for 20 seconds of work, I'm going to do that. Hit some PrizePicks plays. Like, there's tons of profitable bets in the market, and the more books you use, the better. So a lot of unders. A lot of unders on ParlayPlay. But ParlayPlay, you want to go with 7-pick entries. And unfortunately, it's bullshit. But they started drastically reducing the payouts due to correlation of some plays. Like, it doesn't even make sense. If you take Lamar and Zay Flowers under, and then let's say you take some random UFC picks, it's crazy. It's crazy. It doesn't even make sense. So, look at this. If you try to place this 6-pick entry, you need to get 6 picks correct. They only give you a 3x payout, which doesn't make any sense. Because if you remove one of these picks, then they give you, well, I guess some of these plays are on the same team. So maybe this isn't a horrible example, but long story short, they kind of reduced a lot of the payouts due to correlation, which makes it harder to, find good bets. Anyways, call it a day for now. Hopefully this live stream was helpful. We got down some good bets on Fliff, PrizePicks, Underdog, which is great. And then we also have some plays that are, hopefully, Mixon, no touchdown. If you were on one of the previous live streams, that's the sweat we need. So hopefully Mixon doesn't make it into the end zone. Damn, a lot of these were close calls as well. So hopefully Mixon doesn't score. But anyways, thanks so much for your time.